Good morning, people. Morning. What is it? It's July 24th, Wednesday, middle of the week, and the markets have taken a beat down into yesterday's close as well as the overnight session. So, a lot of news surrounding that, and some of the main culprits here, the main constituents of this downside, have been seen as both Tesla and Google. They reported earnings after the bell. This was something that we were talking about yesterday in our update, and it's going to be a very important piece of information to watch for as the day comes to an end. And we kick off pretty much the heavy tech earnings period with these two names realistically. So when I'm looking at these, right, we also have to understand that next week we have Apple, Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft that report earnings. So that pretty much almost wraps up the quote-unquote Magnificent Seven to report earnings with NVIDIA reporting at the end of August. So we're getting a sneak peek here. The reaction to the downside with these big tech names can lead to a little more sell pressure even next week, with tech earnings looking a bit weaker all in all. So let's cover some of those earnings, but let's see here. Let's see what kind of drop we have here on Tesla. I'm not fully sure just yet. It's about 8.2, 8.25, 8.25% drop, right? Pre-market here with yesterday's action on the Q2 earnings on Tesla. Margins and cash flow fell short of expectations. It's forecast for slower growth for the year, and in a post-earnings call, Elon Musk said that discounting in EVs has made it difficult for Tesla, but he thinks that it'll only be a near-term issue. He added that Tesla is on track to deliver an affordable model in the first half of 2025, while the Robotaxi event has been rescheduled to October 10th. Right, there's been a lot of rescheduling, so the market generally taking this as a more negative note. So Tesla is also pausing its plans for a gigafactory in Mexico, given the potential for tariffs if Donald Trump is elected. And separately, Musk fired off a poll on whether Tesla should invest $5 billion into XAI, with nearly 70% of votes in favor of the move. So a general slowdown or the continuation of these operations, or like new operations, are kind of what seems to be the headline here for pulling these prices down. When we have Google as well here, Google slumped, let's see, it doesn't seem like that much in comparison to Tesla, about 4% to the downside. Google got a little beat down here pre-market on Wednesday from Tuesday the Tuesday earnings after the bell. It did have better than expected Q2 results, right? We can see the results here on TradingView, pretty nifty. Reported 1.89 versus 1.847, which was the estimate. That was the earnings. Per share, the reported revenue 84.74 billion, which came out and it beat by about 500 million the expectation. So beats on those front, right? Better than expected Q2 earnings results. However, we did see a slide down in Alphabet because while Alphabet's cloud revenues topped estimates and surpassed $10 billion for the first time, and core search returned to form, YouTube ads fell a bit short of consensus. In a call with analysts, CFO Ruth Parrott said Q3 operating margins will reflect higher levels of investment in technical infrastructure as well as an increase in cost revenue due to the pull forward of hardware launches into Q3. But Alphabet still continues to expect 2024 operating margin expansion relative to 2023. So some of those forward guidances probably didn't sit too well with market participants, which caused this downside press. Now, some of the other news, remember, what am I doing? ETH USD, we had the Ether fund that dropped yesterday, all US listed exchange traded funds tracking Ethereum, right? Prices concluded their first trading session lower on Tuesday as crypto slipped and concerns surrounding net inflows remain. The 9 spot ETFs, Ether spot ETFs, saw net inflows of more than $106 million, while their total trading volume was around $1.05 billion, less than what the spot Bitcoin ETF saw when it first had its debut, or when the multitude of them had their debut. Now that the funds are live, investors are focusing on whether the Ether holding ETFs can achieve net inflows comparable to those in their Bitcoin counterparts, although there's a lot of skepticism that's surrounding this. And one of the biggest news events that came out here based on airlines, aircraft makers are busy securing multiple planes and orders at the Farnborough Air Show in the UK, one of the biggest events for the aviation world, despite production and delivery delays, as well as supply chain issues. The event, which began on Monday and ends up wrapping up on Friday, has seen 191 aircraft orders so far. And according to trade organization ADS Group, day one of the air show saw around $50.72 billion in deal signings. So Boeing, right? BA, it's had a lot of turbulence as of recent. Remember all that news that was populating around Boeing with very faulty equipment. Bagged the most orders, 118, as the second day of the event, includes 20 777-9s yet to be certified for Qatar Airways, and the airline plans to enter these planes into service in Q1 2026. Korean Air also included at least 40 wide-body jetliners from Boeing. Rival Airbus secured 69 orders, including 20 A350-900s for Japan Airlines and 20 Airbus, some other stuff for Vietjet. Airbus also displayed its, I don't even know what these kind of planes are realistically. The A321 XLR, the world's longest range single aisle plane. And plane makers have been facing supply chain headwinds while Boeing continues to be subject to scrutiny given recent safety mishaps like we were talking about, quality concerns, and however, Boeing's management appears to be more confident on this air show's first day, forecasting that production will improve in the second half of 2024 and will end the year consistently producing 38 737 MAX planes per month. However, Airbus management cautioned ongoing plane component constraints, and Boeing has been rotating into this 170, 180 area and trying to find a bottom as of most recent to potentially get that next spike to the upside. I think that these are areas, right, especially if we can start moving above this 190, 191, we could have a nice little breakout on Boeing. That could be interesting as an options play in the coming weeks here. It's a little tougher right now as overall markets are taking a little slip, right? Overall markets are getting a little beat down. Realistically, with the S&P dropping significantly off of the news of, off of the news of the earnings reports out of Google and Tesla, we actually gapped on the S&P lower from the difference between the yesterday's RTH and the overnight session, moving continuously into distributions lower. Right now, what's going on, right? We've made a move towards the distribution to the downside. We've actually broken the barriers under 55, 63, 65 area, and are continuing lower, making new lows here on the overnight session with a lot of delta pinpointed around that 53. So if I want to be a seller, I want to see the continuation of this distribution hold with lower highs and lower lows. So 53 seems like a sweet spot to see if sellers want to come into that area. Yet again, to see if we can get a continuation lower, targeting 36 and potentially down into 55.24 to 20. And, that's a massive distribution low where I'd expect some kind of buy side to come in. But if we actually start breaking through those areas, the downside is going to open up a little more aggressively, and we're going to see multiple days of downside press. This is what I was looking for yesterday. If you guys remember the update in the morning, I wanted to see a pop on yesterday's session to find some kind of distribution to the upside, which happens to be into that 56.30 plus before we start selling off. So we're still bearish under this 55.60 area, but realistically, I don't really want to see prices too much above 55.53 if we're going to continue that downside press in these equities. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the update, had a great day yesterday, and are looking forward to a great day in today's trading session. Let's open up our live trading room. I'll see you guys in there. Check out community.tradeproacademy.com, and we'll do this again tomorrow and on Friday to wrap up the week as we get through the midpoint of the week. So I see my video froze. I guess that's fine. And we'll kind of come